Hey guys, Aunt Becca here today, and I have a new story for you. This is a fun book. It's a version of Caps for Sale, and it's called Caps for Sale and the Mindful Monkeys by Esphyr Slobodkina and Anne Marie Mulhearn Sayer. And this is a shout out to all my Pied Piper friends. Mwah! So let's get started, all right? Caps for Sale and the Mindful Monkeys. Pezzo the peddler sold caps, but he was not like an ordinary peddler carrying his wares on his back. He carried them on top of his head. Every day he walked through the streets of the town calling, "Caps! Caps for sale! 50 cents a cap!" Every night he sat on his bench in his yard, making caps to sell, 50 cents a cap. The peddler had always enjoyed his quiet life, but suddenly things had changed. Now, in the big tree in his backyard were 16 monkeys. Can you count them all? Let's see if you can find 16 monkeys. They had followed the peddler for 2 days, and for 2 nights they slept in his tree. This morning the monkeys were still there. "You monkeys, you," the peddler said, shaking his finger at them. "You must go home." But the monkeys only shook their fingers back at him and said, "Tss, tss, tss." Today, the peddler was going to visit his friend Essie. Essie was wise. She would know what to do about the monkeys. The peddler started up the dirt road, and the monkeys started up the dirt road too. Right foot, left foot, left foot, all in step. You see all those silly monkeys? When the peddler reached Essie's porch, he pulled on the bell chain outside her door. The sound of the bell startled the monkeys, and they scattered. Oh, you see how they're all running away? "Greetings, my friend," Essie said as the peddler hurried past. "No time for greetings," the peddler wailed. "I'm in trouble. I need help. I'm being followed by 16 monkeys who will not go home." Essie was an artist. Pointing to a chair with her paintbrush, she said calmly, "Sit down and tell me what is happening." Essie painted while she listened. As the peddler recounted his story, his temper rose again. "I told them to go home. The monkeys must go home," he shouted as he stamped his feet. Essie's cat, Scaramucci, that's a funny name, sprang to the top of the chest of drawers, hissing, "Sss." Do you see her? There she is right there. The peddler eyed Scaramucci. He stopped shouting, sat down, and put his head in his hands. "Sometimes we decide something is no good before we have even given it a chance," Essie said. The peddler replied, "I don't understand." "Perhaps the monkeys will go home. Perhaps they will not. Are they doing anything wrong?" "No," admitted the peddler. "Sometimes what we don't want is exactly what we need," Essie continued. "Go home," Essie said, "and see what comes to pass." The peddler frowned. But I don't like what will come to pass," he said. "Nonsense," Essie replied. "You cannot dislike what hasn't happened yet. It's just not possible." The peddler left Essie's house. She chuckled as she watched the monkeys follow her friend. Right foot, left foot, all in step. Do you see them? There they are. They're following him away, and she's giggling. That night, after work, the peddler sat in his backyard making caps. There he is. The monkeys were busy too. Some were scratching their bellies, some were combing their hair, some were eating their supper, and all were looking at him. Do you see the monkeys doing those things? The peddler threaded a needle, and then he reached for a piece of cloth. He pulled the needle through the cloth, in and out and around. He skillfully made a cap. The peddler placed the cap in the trunk by his bench, and then he looked up at the monkeys. "I watch you, and you watch me," he said. The monkeys replied, "Tss, tss, tss." Suddenly, the peddler's phone rang. The news was sad. A friend from another town was sick. The peddler said he would come right away. "Oh my," he thought, "I have money enough to travel and help, but no time to make caps to sell tomorrow. I hope I am not gone too long." After the peddler left, the monkeys waited for him to return and make the caps. The moon came up. No peddler. The sun came up. No peddler. The moon came up. No peddler. The monkeys eyed the needles and the thread. They gazed at the pieces of cloth. They looked at the open trunk. No caps. They were very mindful monkeys. So what do you think they did? Do you see them? They're looking in the trunk. They're inside the trunk. What do you think they did? Well, let's find out. One by one, the monkeys descended from the tree. They remembered how the peddler pulled thread through the needles. Some monkeys pulled thread through the needles. Yeah. They're working on it, aren't they? Let's find out what happens next, those mindful little monkeys. They remembered how the peddler pulled the needles through the cloth. Some monkeys pulled the needles through the cloth. They remembered how the needles went in and out and around. And soon the trunk began to fill with caps. Gray caps and brown caps, blue caps and red caps. When they had sewn every piece of cloth, the monkeys climbed up slowly into the tree. They were very tired. And they quickly fell asleep. Look at them. Do you see the red ones and the blue ones? Can you find the gray caps? Good job. Late that night, the peddler came home. But he was very tired too. But his friend was much better, and that's what was important. The peddler was worried. He had no money left, and it was too late to make caps to sell tomorrow. He went outside to sit and think. What do you think he saw? You ready to find out? I think you're right. Let's find out. He looked to the right. Caps! He looked to the left. Caps! He looked behind him. Caps! He looked beside the tree and more caps. Gray caps and brown caps, blue caps and red caps. I don't remember making these caps, the peddler thought to himself. I must have forgotten, but surely I did not make so many. I see him looking all around. He really was surprised, huh? The peddler looked into the tree. The monkeys seemed exhausted. They were dropped over the branches like old clothes. Some were even snoring. Can you see which one's the snoring one? I don't know either. The peddler scratched his head and wondered. He looked up again. A piece of red thread was hanging from one of the monkeys' foot. He said to himself as he began to pick up the caps. The next morning, when the peddler left for work, the monkeys did not follow. As he began calling, "Caps! Caps for sale! 50 cents a cap!" He felt very alone, and he wondered why. He thought about the pile of caps that he found last night, and he thought about the snoring monkeys. Still asleep in his tree. He thought, and then he thought some more. Look at all those caps on top of his head. That's pretty good. Suddenly, Essie's wise words came back to him into the peddler's mind. Sometimes what we don't want is exactly what we need. And now he knew that what she was trying to tell him. 4 children approached the peddler. "Where are your monkeys?" they asked. "They're not my monkeys." he said. Then he added quickly, but they are my friends. That night, when the peddler came home, he had with him a big bunch of bananas. Look at it, he's hiding them behind his back. What do you think? Do you think the monkeys will be excited? I think they will enjoy those bananas too. That's the end of our story, and I hope you enjoyed it today. Mwah! Till next time.